Hey everybody, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalano along with Dan Fates. We are here in Indianapolis. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So Dan and I show up today. We're ready to talk to Brandon Beane. We feel like it's going to be one of those. Yeah, get an idea of what the offseason plans is, and then boom, big news.
Leslie Frazier stepping away for the season as defensive coordinator.
Let's cut right to it. Love Leslie. I think he did a great job in his time there. I don't think he's coming back to the Bills. I think that's pretty clear. He steps away for this year. It does not appear to be open-ended. He is back. I don't see that happening. He doesn't want to retire. He wants the year off. We wish the best for Leslie.
Yeah.
I do not see this as a one-year break and he's back as coordinator, back on the defense. I don't see that happening.
Correct, and I look at it, Mike, as other coaches that have done it around the NFL, taking breaks, and they don't go back to the team where they took the break from. I look at Sean Payton, I look at Vic Fangio, guys that then want fresh starts. And again, Leslie's not a young coach anymore. Might need a break, a little burned out, possibly. You know, they wouldn't get into the details of what the conversation was, but Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane said it was about a week ago that Leslie came to them and said that he would like to step away. Again, not retire, plans to coach in 2024, but as we're saying, it doesn't appear that it will be in Buffalo.
And I'll just say this. It's all right to criticize some of his play calls, the way they played the defense. That's the world they live in. The NFL is a better place when Leslie Frazier is a coach.
100%.
There is no doubt about it. He is one of the nicest men in the game.
Yep.
He's one of the most respected people in the game. The Bills are going to miss Leslie Frazier, the person, and the coach.
Yes.
Will they change things on the defense? Yeah, that's what happens in the NFL.
Yep.
Sometimes changes are made. Sometimes they're needed after a while. So if you're going to change your defensive coordinator, do you go out of the house or do you go really in-house?
I know some people are upset about when this decision was made and that Leslie waited too long to tell the team because now defensive coordinators have all been – I don't buy that. I don't think that's a factor at all. But I will say if I'm Sean McDermott, I would probably keep it in-house, and I might even take over the reins a little bit more.
I think that's what's going to happen.
You always tell the great story about when Greg Williams, who got hired as the Bills as a defensive coordinator, and you got to talk to him when he got hired as a head coach in Buffalo.
He was with the Titans, came to the Bills, and I remember, and I'll say in a moment of frustration, it was not, and nothing to do with the game. This was a training camp, and he was doing a bunch of stuff, and he said, everything I did to get this job, I don't do anymore. And that doesn't always apply to head coaches, and he still was involved in the defense and all those things, but in that moment of frustration, he's thinking, this is what I've always done.
Correct.
This is what Sean McDermott had always done.
Correct.
This is how he got a head coaching job.
And that puts into perspective, too, everything that a head coach has to do. So the sense that, like, Sean McDermott's hands were all over this defense, to some respect, maybe the philosophies, but that was Leslie Frazier's defense.
Yeah.
That for the last 6 years has been one of the best defenses in football. Whether or not you want to talk about some of the play calling, like you said, totally fine to criticize, but you can't overlook the fact of what he had done for the last 6 years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, there have been issues. They were not great in that Bengals game at the end of the year. We know it happened in 13 seconds. I get all that.
Yep.
Leslie Frazier is no longer the coordinator. Sean McDermott may move into that role. Now, Sean kept sort of backing away a little bit. He did. He is methodical. He does want to look at it. They have brought in some coaches that he has a lot of faith in, newer coaches that can help.
Yeah.
But when we talked to Brandon Beane about Sean McDermott maybe taking that active role, it was pretty positive.
Yeah, I mean, if Sean decided to take over the play calling, I've seen him do it for a long time. Great success. He's gone against some great quarterbacks in his day and offensive, gurus that you have to beat. And so, that would be great if that's the route he feels is best for us. I'm going to support that and full faith that he would do a great job if it came to that.
Yeah, I mean, when Brandon Beane says that, basically, like, if Sean wants to do this, I'm all on board for it. Here's what I think happened. This is just my speculation. I think they had a sense of this from Leslie when the season ended. Okay. I don't necessarily know if they were planning on moving off of Leslie Frazier, but I think they had a sense of this. If they thought he was going and they knew he was going, I don't think it changes anything. I think this would have been the plan. If they were going to move on, I don't think they're not hiring a defensive coordinator now, or might not hire a defensive coordinator because it's too late in the process. They got guys on their own staff. They got guys who have it. There's still teams interviewing defensive coordinators now trying to make moves. So my point is, could they get somebody? Absolutely. I think they're leaning in this direction towards Sean McDermott taking that role. And I think whether Leslie Frazier would have quit or gotten fired the day after the season or now is the first day of the NFL Combine, Dan, I don't think it makes that big of a difference.
I disagree.
Okay, why?
Because I think that if you would have found that out a little sooner, I think it does change everything. Now, not everything, it changes how you go into the offseason with your coaching decision and your coaching moves. If we're taking them for their face value that they found out about a week ago, that does shake up what you were expecting in the offseason.
Unless the plan all along was to, at some point, Sean to take a more active role. I mean, look, if they wanted to hire a coordinator now, they can hire, and they may still do
correct.
That. Look, there's going to be a lot on Sean McDermott this year. He's all in. If he's calling the plays on defense, it's going to be his defense. Now, that is an interesting dynamic for a head coach. Some guys do it. We watch Andy Reid. Now, I will say this, Andy Reid is a phenomenal play caller. I'm sure he's around here somewhere. We just saw
grabbing
him.
A burger.
He was literally talking about burgers when we walked by him, which was because everybody tells him about their best burgers. But he's a great play caller. He's not a great game coach.
It's a lot.
And it's always been a thing. He just won the Super Bowl, so he's a great coach.
And Sean says that he will reach out to coaches that call plays, whether they're offensive or defensive.
I don't think he's reaching out to Andy. He's trying to beat Andy. Like, I don't think he's saying, what do I do? He knows what Andy does. Sean will research this, but I don't think he's like, how do I handle this? He did say, well, the one thing about it is, you know, the offensive side of the ball is when there is more decision making. He's right about that.
100%.
Because that's when you're, you know, timeouts, challenging plays, all those kind of things.
Yep.
I mean, not that you can't challenge on defense, but it's different because you're not calling the plays. So
I think if they wanted Leslie gone, they fired him right after the season.
I'm not saying they wanted him gone. I'm saying I think they had a sense that this could happen. I think Leslie might have said to them, I need to make a decision. They gave him this amount of time. He came back to them and said,
I can see that a little bit.
He came back to them and said, I'm out. I think with the relationship he has with Sean McDermott, unless something came up, look, we haven't heard anything of any issue for Leslie. I hope everything is fine. Yeah. I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
I think it was, and it became sort of a mutual parting the ways. Plus, they're also talking about overall philosophy. They're changing things on the staff. Like, there's a lot of things they're doing. They did hire a coach.
Al Holcomb.
Right? And he said, oh, no, that had nothing to do with it.
Don't connect those dots. Connect them however you want.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also, I mean, we got one-on-ones. You can also see him also here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.
Sean McDermott was really good.
It was great.
Yeah.
He was great. I mean, and I also asked him, too, part of this, after we got done with the interviews, I asked him, continuity. Because I'm as I tweeted that, you know, Leslie Frazier is stepping away for the season, there was a lot of rejoicing. A lot of people that are happy. And again, I always say this, be careful what you wish for. Like, he was the coordinator of a top 5 defense over the last 6 years. There's no getting around that. And so I asked him, continuity's been great. Everybody loves having continuity. And I asked Sean McDermott, continuity's great until it's not. Until you're not winning, and then it's stale, and then it's blow the whole thing up. And then guess what? Then you're starting back over from scratch. And he said it's that fine line. He goes, and every team, 31 other teams deal with that.
Yeah, they do.
Because he had to deal with it with Andy Reid's staff when he was with Philadelphia. He goes, they were together for a long time. And then he goes, little by little, guys kept getting picked off. Well, and he goes, that's how it rebuilt.
And he mentioned it with the offense last year. You went into with a new coordinator, new quarterbacks coach, and a new offensive line coach. And they struggled.
Well, the first 9 games, they were fine.
Yeah.
And then to the interview, again, I highly recommend the Sean McDermott interview because you said about the Ken Dorsey and where's the room to grow. And he goes, Ken did a lot of good things. He goes, but people started to pick up on the fastball.
Yeah.
And he goes, give other defenses credit, which I think is a very annoying cliche that we hear a lot about. But it makes the sense of, okay, nobody can hit my 99-mile-per-hour fastball. And all of a sudden people started hitting it. You got to learn how to throw a changeup.
So here it is. We want our coaches, I'm talking about the fans, you want your coaches to adjust. But when the other team adjusts, we don't think that should happen.
Yeah, I hate it.
Right? And they do that. But I asked McDermott, I said, whether Leslie's coaching the defense, which he's not now, or you are, or something else, what do you need from this defense that's different in 2023. Here's what he had to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always things you want to improve. I think the biggest thing for us is, playing good team defense, which we've played for a number of years, and I thought Leslie did a good job with that. And now it's, hey, how can we improve? How can we take another step or two as a defense? And I think a piece of that is a nasty edge to our defense. And most defenses that are really good have that edge.
I love that he said that. I told you years ago, I had a defensive line coach say to me, on your D-line, you want guys that are this close to getting arrested. Now, in 2023, I think you got to be careful about that. But I knew what he meant. He meant like, he's talking about on the field just to play angry. And that's what they needed. So I'm joking about that. But I'm saying in terms of you want that. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
They don't play. It's like they're too nice.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see that type of defense. I want to see the mindset change. Maybe that comes from Sean McDermott or other influences.
Yeah.
But I think it's a thing.
Wrapping up day one here on Tuesday, what were one or two points that stood out to you today? Because we heard from Brandon Beane, we heard from Sean McDermott. Maybe what are some of the things that really stood out to you?
I think Christian Benford's going to play safety.
That was one of mine.
Yeah, now they say they're going to go through the draft to free agency. I get it, because if a guy comes up, they get a chance at a player. A veteran
100%.
gets cut loose from another team. Keep in mind, I think the Bills are going to be active on the veterans cut market for a certain guys that could be there. But that being said, he talked about what Benford does. He's got the size, the way he plays. They
ball
love
skills,
the kid.
versatility that he could play. He's shown he has the ball skills to play corner, but they think he has the smarts to play safety and replays.
I like the way the kid plays. He dealt with injuries, but so that really struck with me. What'd you have?
They love Gabe Davis.
They do.
They are going to defend Gabe Davis until he gets carried off on his shield.
I will say the one thing. Look, I will give them this. That maybe the high ankle set him back. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, there was video. I don't know where it came from of him at practice not looking great. I don't know.
Guess I was doing him a favor.
And he was just not great during the year. But I think it compounds. I think when a guy has that and then he starts
pressing,
then he starts dropping the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to say it. It's kind of like with Josh Allen. When your offensive line's not protecting you, guys are dropping the ball. You start taking weird chances. I think these things build up over 17 games. Gabe was not good enough. He looked like a guy who's not ready to fill that role.
Correct.
But he has shown flashes of that ability. He started out as a guy who knew every position. Then you put him in this main one and said, go do it. And he wasn't ready. But I still think he has the physical ability to come back this year when maybe we're not expecting that and to be that guy.
The high ankle sprain, I thought Brandon Beane explained it best because, again, I don't know route running or techniques, but he said coming out of his breaks, it would take Gabe an extra step. He wasn't able to just cut and go. He would have to take a step before he would break, and he goes, corners use that to pick up on it, and they could jump route. So I think that's part of it. They're going to defend him. They still say they want him to be their number 2 corner or number 2 wide receiver heading into the season. It is a contract year for Gabe Davis as well.
Yeah.
They talk about adding a playmaker. Brandon Beane said again, he goes, thinks there's a lot of depth in playmakers. He goes, that doesn't necessarily mean wide receiver. That means a running back possibly.
They mentioned tight end right away.
And they mentioned tight end a lot. They said there's a lot of depth in tight end. So.
Here's what I say. Gabe's the number 2 receiver until he isn't. And that could be after free agency. It could be after the draft. Could be at another time. But he's going to get, obviously, opportunities. He's on the last year of a deal for a 4th-round pick. He's cheap this year. The expectations will change, but he still has an opportunity to show what he can do and to still be a member of the team. Like, you have no idea how this season's going to go. So, last year you weren't too high on him.
Nope, I'm not. My stance on Gabe Davis has not changed, and it will probably not change. I think he's a good player. I think he fits more as a number 3, but this thought that he's this, and Beane saying that there was unrealistic expectations put on him after the Kansas City game.
It was weird, though, because he had, like, it's such an aberration for his whole career to have one of the great games in the history of the league in the biggest moment where he was ridiculously good. So you at least expect him to be really good. And he let him down. I think he let him down. Injuries might have played a part, but not the whole year. So
I think they're going to draft an offensive lineman in the first round.
Hey, look, most people don't like that. This team needs. I tried to ask them about. I
don't love it.
Beane about using resources for the O-line. And he went into the O-line and the D-line, and we use free. I get all that. But man, not that they would have done it, but if you would have used 2 2s and 2 1s on the offensive line, that line might look a little different. You took Dion in the second. You took
Cody Ford, Spencer Brown.
Yeah, those and Spencer Brown. He's got to come back for him and do something, where they're going to be looking to make moves. All right, we can complain all we want. Make sure you check out the other things on the channel. It's the Beane interview,
McDermott interview,
and
yesterday's preview.
Yeah, but this is the one. I'm glad you were watching this.
Stayed all the way to the end.
St. Elmo's tonight.
St. Elmo's.
Dan will give a review.
Yes.
We've both been there before.
Shrimp cocktail.
Shrimp cocktail.
I'm going to do a strip steak.
Really?
I'm a strip steak guy.
And one thing I'm not going to do is order any specials. I did that once, and I didn't ask him the price. It was so absurdly expensive. No, but it was close. I think Toby Motika was with me, and I got the bill. I couldn't put the bill. I mean, work pays for it, but they can't pay. They don't like us that much.
Nope.
No. So
not unless you like, comment, and subscribe. We
a lot more. We appreciate it. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Dan, I'm Mike. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time on Buffalo Plus.